working all these hours in a professional job, earning all this really good money, and succeeding in life, and we were never late, the kids were well behaved, blah 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 blah. So you look like you got this perfect little life happening, but on the inside I was like falling apart, and unable to relate to anybody that I was telling, like unable to get someone to go, well, yeah, you'd like, obviously you are struggling, obviously, whatever is going on with you, that, it's okay to be feeling like this. There's a reason why you're feeling like this, and there's something that you can do about it. I was always met with this, you'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with you. And that hurt. That really, really hurt. I didn't feel like I had anxiety. I wasn't anxious over anything in particular. I had to be in control of every single situation. I had to have control of where we were going and what we were doing and all of that, because anything outside of my control, there was a possibility that something bad was going to happen. And that was my main aim, was to prevent that from happening.
Yes.
And I would never have thought that that's what being anxious, that wasn't anxious. Like when you go to the doctors and they say, oh, you've got anxiety, so you need to deal with your anxiety. So then like, oh, okay, well, that's good, like at least now I know that there's something wrong with me, right? So I can start Googling all of the things that I need to do to become a less anxious person. So then you get back to the list of meditating and reading a book and drinking and exercising, all those kind of things, which just added to my anxiety.
Because this is all the things I need to do on top of all the things I need to do.
All of the other stuff, yeah. And then so when what I couldn't understand, and which was a huge thing for me, was I would wake up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat, heart palpitations, literally hair standing up on the back of my neck, and so it's in a huge panic attack. And I would lay there and I think to myself, like, what was I just dreaming about to put my body into this? I couldn't remember a dream. And then I couldn't calm myself down. Like, I'd lay there and I'd wriggle my toes and I'd count and I'd deep breathe and I'd try to meditate. I'd try to distract myself. It didn't matter what I did. My body was so in that like that panic attack, that it would take me hours to come out of it. And so sometimes I even went up to the hospital, and they put me on the ECG because I thought I was having a heart attack. And, like, get a brown paper bag, you've got anxiety, and breathe into the brown paper bag. Like, that's the only way that you're going to have to learn to live with this.
Yes.
And so it didn't become any easier, though. It didn't get any easier. The panic attacks got worse, and I lost more control than actually gaining control and of the anxiety, or preventing it from happening. It was just like my body was consumed by it, and I had no control of when it would happen, and that's what really scared me.
And then how was that affecting your life, like your day-to-day life, like work and your kids and your husband? And
Just no sleep. I'd have no sleep. And have to get up and go and work in mining, doing 12-hour shifts. There was a rotating roster, so I was, also the relief person. I was going in on my days off, and so I had to do that. Like, I couldn't let them down. Like, regardless of what was going on in my own life, like, I had to go to work. Like, it was my main priority, was to put my shirt on and become this person at work that I wanted to be seen as, good at my job and respected. So I couldn't let them know what was going on at work. And that also, tore down the walls at home as well, because I was always available for work, but I wasn't available for those at home that needed me. And then that just, was a vicious cycle of the mummy guilt then set in, because I wasn't doing enough at home. I wasn't a good enough mum. I was letting Zane down. I was letting my husband down, and which just put more pressure on me. So it made the anxiety worse. It made the that fear of letting someone down, and the fear of something bad happening, all of that control was, yeah, it was just really scary. And I was really panicked. Like, I kind of explain it like I had a washing machine going on in my chest. Like, it was just panic, 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 panic. But then I was really like short, like I'd explode, and I was snappy and snarly, and it just turned into this big, ugly, horrible mess. That was me.
So
It was
what
terrible.
happened? Like, how did you just go from living like that to going, okay, well, I'm going to do something, and knowing what that was? Like, where did you get from that point going, okay, I'm trying all these other things and putting more pressure on myself? Like, what happened for you?
I explained myself like I was drowning as well. Like, I was just doggy paddling, with my head above the water. That's how I really felt, because um, I was doing everything that I was told to do by all of the professionals, all of the books, and I was still failing. So, um, my self worth just went down the drain. I just consistently felt like I was trying to do better for myself, trying to do better for everybody, trying to fix myself, and everything that I did just didn't. It just unraveled. It just, the harder I worked, the more I did, the more it unraveled, and the less control that I had, and the more exhausted I became, because um, it became too much. It was just too much.
So what happened? Where did you how did you get to this person that's sitting in front of me?
So
Because you don't look like you're dealing with any of that stuff now.
no, so a friend of mine, out of the blue, kind of said that I'm going to do this thing called Creatrix, and I'm like, if you're doing Creatrix, I'm doing it. What is it? And she's like, oh, I'll just put you in contact with this transformologist. So I had one conversation with my transformologist, and her and I, completely different dynamics in life. Like, we are nothing alike. We have nothing in common. Um, and she like knew exactly what I was saying, and she could relate to everything and understood everything that I was putting out there. And I really felt like I was being heard for the first time. I felt like I was being heard, and I felt like that she understood, and I felt that like I just needed to do whatever this girl was going to sell me or tell me to do. I was like going to do it, because um instead of being told that you just got to suck it up, princess, learn to live with it, and this is what your life is like now, she's like, doesn't have to be that way. Like, this is why you're responding or reacting in these certain ways. This is why things are happening in your life like this. And I felt really heard, and so I had no idea what to expect, but I signed up on the dot, and jumped into my very first breakthrough. And um, from my very first session, to, I'd say, 3 hours later, it was my son that identified that there was a difference in me, before I even recognized it myself. Yeah.
Wow.
So it
Wh-
worked just like that.
Yes, yes, that immediate change, and like with all the work that you were doing, what was it like to see it change that quick after just working on yourself for so long?
It was a bloody relief. It was like, finally, like, one less thing I have to do, like, it was a real battle to try and control my emotions, and to try to control my behaviors and my reactions, and to be um like a people pleaser, like to be that person that someone wanted me to be the mum that I was supposed to be. And I had all these masks on, and it was exhausting. And all of a sudden, I had this relief from my fear of something bad happening. It was gone, and I could actually just like relax, and I didn't feel like I was in that pressure, or I could enjoy, doing stuff again. Like, it was just instant.
So, what would you say to any woman that was considering doing this process over something else and trying to figure out whether this is something that she should do for her?
I think that they should definitely reach out to their transformologist and just have a conversation. Whether or not you're ready now or you're thinking of being ready in the future, it's still just a conversation that you can have with a transformologist because they really do understand um, how we women work and how our emotions and our beliefs are connected to everything that we do. And like I said, I really, for the first time, felt that I was heard and that I was understood, and um, that it was okay to be feeling how I was feeling because I really felt like I wasn't okay, and it wasn't okay for me to be failing in so many areas and so many aspects of my life that um, to the point that was almost embarrassing, admitting what was wrong with me because for so long I had so many people dismiss what it was or what I was complaining about or how I was living. And to be heard for the first time and to know that these women specialize in this creatrix that's specifically designed for women. And if you're worried about the process or how long it takes or if or it's going to work or not, um, I can justify that my very first session, I had results within, like, my 10-year-old son recognized the difference in me 3 hours later. And if that doesn't say something about the effect that it has, then I don't know what does because he was 10 and he was so used to me driving in traffic, um, swearing and cursing at the other drivers, to being completely cool, calm, and, you know, playing I Spy and singing songs in the car with him, which is something that he didn't, he immediately knew that there was a difference in me. Like, so um, just reach out, and have that conversation and, you know, ha- they'll talk you through the process. And the process is so simple and so easy. And you've just got to commit to yourself for a month or so. And then all the hard work is done. You get to sit back and enjoy life after that.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Beck. I know that there's a lot of women and mums that are really going to relate to what you're sharing. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
No worries. Happy Steph. Thank you.
Thanks, Beck.